Speaking of the NBA, man, there was one hell of a game last night. And if you guys didn't get a chance to see it, the Minnesota Timberwolves won over the Oklahoma City Thunder in overtime, 131 to 128. Man, the Timberwolves came back from a 25 points down, and they came back and won the game in this one, man. BC, did you get a chance to watch this game, man? This was a hell of a game.
I got a chance to watch it towards a little bit of the tail end there. Like that, oh my gosh, absolutely absurd. I don't know. It depends for me. Like when I enjoy watching an overtime game, there's sometimes I'm like, I don't care. But like that, oh my gosh, incredible game for sure. And I did not expect Minnesota to pull it off, honestly. Like I just thought, yeah, I thought this was just gonna be one where it's like, all right, OKC, this is gonna be their chance to kind of show, they've learned a little bit of something since last year in the playoffs, but like Minnesota just
didn't learn too much.
Yep.
They didn't learn too much. This is what I was talking about.
Yep.
OKC against any team in the West right now, man. Yes, they're a great team. They're a great defensive team. Top number 1 right now. Their offense is up there too, top 5. But when it comes to closing out games and actually winning against these top teams in the West, let's see if they can do it. I'm not saying they can't.
But
it was a great example of that.
Yep, as like I said, when all this was going on, I was like slowly just hearing G Mike's voice creeping up in the back of my head. I was like, "Shut up."
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. Did you see what the coach said at the end of the game in the post game interview?
No, I didn't get a chance to. No,
I did. Brown to bring that up. Go ahead, G Mike.
No, I was just gonna say that. So the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, he was complaining on the fact that he hates playing Oklahoma City Thunder because of the fact that the refs give every call to Shai. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think that the refs do you think that the refs give Shai too many calls? And 2, should the opposing coach be complaining about that when it's a game that you were down 24 points or 25 points, or whichever the case may be, after halftime, and then you're coming back to win just by 3. You won because of your star player getting a game-winning block, because if not, I think it would have probably gone into double OT. But 1, do the refs give Shai too many fouls? 2, should the opposing team's coach be complaining about this when you're already down 24 to go into the second half?
You can go ahead first, man. BC.
I mean, I think that's just the way it is with a lot of stars, not just with Shai, but like I think most stars do get favorable calls as opposed to like normal role players and everything like that. But yeah, should at that point in the game, I don't agree. Like, oh my gosh, you missed this call or that call. Like at that point, you're down by 24. That's on you guys for not doing your job and stopping them. Like I understand 1 or 2 calls could maybe affect a game, but not one that's out of reach by that. And at the same time, again, you guys pulled it out. So, like, where's the complaining at? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, I think that so I think there's a couple of things. One, I want to start because I've always been critical of Anthony Edwards, and that was one of the plays I was waiting on him to see. I've always been more of like, what have you done besides you're a pretty good scorer, and that was a hell of a defensive effort, and that's what he needs to be doing on a consistent basis in Minnesota. So I want to start by saying that, like, I thought that Anthony Edwards did a hell of a job on that one. So kudos to Anthony Edwards for that one. And that's the type of player that he needs to be more often than just being a scoring threat. And that was just an awesome play. I think as far as SGA goes, I think he ended up with like 17 free throws, and I think Minnesota only had like 12 or something along those lines. So there was definitely a gap that Shai, I think, almost had more free throws than the entire team. What was it then?
Negative. Minnesota
he had 17 by himself.
Minnesota had 39 free throw attempts and made 34. Okay. OKC had 29 free throw attempts and made 23. Shai had 17 attempts. Yes, you're correct there. Made 14. Yeah. But, okay, so sorry to cut you off, but with you saying that right now, we got the head coach of the opposing team that's complaining about a star future MVP, in my opinion, that he's getting way too many free throws, but your team got 10 more free throws than their team did. So make it make sense to me, please. Why are you complaining about the star player getting the free throws when he's out there doing his job? He knows how to manipulate the game and take advantage of what the rules are. It's not his fault that the rules are like that now, but he's using his to advantage because he's quick, he's versatile, his agility is through the roof, and he has great IQ off the court. and you're complaining about a player that's doing that against your team when your team had 10 more free throws.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going with SGA is that he's a very gifted offensive player, and he's able to create a lot of contact. Ergo, a Luka, a Dirk, some of these guys, Anthony Davis, some of these guys are just very good at, especially guards. James Harden, these guys are very good at manipulating the defense to where you're forced to always get that. Either you're getting buckets either way. You're going to get the shot and a foul, or you're going to get just the free throws, and they're just very gifted at doing it. The only way around it is maybe change the way the fouls are called, but you can't do that either because they are making contact with the person. So it's not. It gets frustrating at times. I can see it's another player. I know you're probably going to get super pissed at me on this one, G-Mike, but I go back to the Dallas Mavericks whenever they played the Miami Heat, and Dwayne Wade set the record for like 94 free throws in a series, something along those lines. So I know exactly what he's talking about whenever you're pissed about that.
I get it too.
Yeah.
But my thing is that it's the league that has done this.
Right. In this
you know
situation,
what I'm saying? Like,
you're right. In this situation, I think Chris Finch was wrong. I think that that you guys got the victory, even though, and like you were saying too, you did have 10 more. Now, I can understand how some coaches do get frustrated with this. But I mean, Anthony Edwards is a pretty amazing offensive player as well, who gets a lot of foul calls as well. But whenever it's not in your favor, then you get kind of annoyed. So I think it's more of that kind of thing.
And Anthony Edwards had 10 free throw attempts. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that it's something that the NBA has had issues with for years and years. You know, that's part of the reason why I think a lot of people don't think LeBron is one of the greater players, because they didn't seem to think that Jordan got fouled like LeBron does, and they just didn't react the same way. Even though Jordan definitely did a bunch of his fair share of, you know, complaining to the refs and all these other things, but LeBron is a lot more boisterous and a lot more. It just seems like a little bit different. And then LeBron always seems like he's whining for the call. And so some of these guys get used to I'm getting the call for all this stuff, and they don't get it. So if we're always saying, like, let the guys play, then you end up with a bunch of what Luka did last year in the finals, where, you know, half the time you're spent hands in the air whining that you didn't get the call. So I think these guys, like the NBA's just got to figure out something. Either, I hate to say it, either you call it straight up and everybody's getting the same calls, which will never happen. Or you modify how the foul calls are called now. You know, maybe there needs to be like more actual contact and not just you know it has to impede the shot from going in to be a foul, maybe something along those lines. That's the only way you're going to fix it, is after you come up with some sort of universal thing, because these superstars, that's how they have half of them make their living at the line. They're smart enough to be able to get the foul call. You have to call it the certain way because that's the rule book. You know, they are making contact. Is it impeding the shot? I don't think so some of the times, but
I feel like the way that because I know you guys knows this, but for the fans out there, the way that they call fouls in the playoffs is completely different than the way that they call fouls in the regular season. And I think it needs to be the same. It needs to be the same, because then you go into playoffs and then you got what happened last year in the NBA Finals with Luka crying and all this stuff, because in the regular season, you're calling the fouls for him, but in the playoffs, you're like, nah, that was too weak. That was too weak. And it's like, no, you should call it the same. So the players get used to it, and the coaches get used to it.
And what I think though too is a lot of times in the playoffs, there's a lot less referee. They save their best refs, the best teams, for the postseason. So you're getting a lot less guys that are guys and gals that are calling ticky-tack fouls, and you're saying, like, I think it's just an issue of training the refs though too. Like, are you wanting to, you know, I don't even know how to say it. Like, you have so many games during the regular season to cover. You have so many different ref teams that you have to have. So it's like you're going to have to find a way as well to train these refs to get them to that level. And it's going to be very difficult for certain refs to just be that good. But, you know, you gotta figure it out. Otherwise, like you said, we're gonna just keep seeing more of this crap in the regular season, the postseason.
I think it's more of it's an easier way to do, like what G Mike was saying, is, you know, make the regular season the same as the postseason. Granted, I know the postseason is supposed to be let the boys play, but why is the regular season? Because what's happening as well is the NBA's ratings are going down. This year, the ratings haven't been as good as they've been in the past. And I think a lot of people are kind of almost finding like it's a very exciting, fast-paced game, but it's getting kind of slow and boring sometimes when you got these guys. You got between Shai and Anthony Edwards in that game, which was an amazing game. They went to the foul line 27 times between the two players, just those two players alone. That's
Imagine how much time that takes up too.
100%. 100%. So,
30 minutes at least.
Yeah,
Watch it be
absolutely.
about the free throw line.
You have enough time that you can take your shot. You have to go through your pre-shot, whatever it is you're doing and stuff. So I think you're exactly right that they need to forget this playoff basketball is different. Make the whole damn thing the same all year round, and it might actually help some fans out come back to the game and to see that intensity all the time.
Mm-hmm.